Broadcasting down in the bayou, it's Mark Out Mania, a podcast featuring two average Joe wrestling fans talking about the business they love and so much more. And now, here's Ryan Keefe and Patrick Fry.
And welcome to episode 23 of Mark Out Mania. Patrick, well, it was a crazy weekend last weekend, huh?
Absolutely. So much going on in New Orleans. Sorry that I wasn't able to partake in all the fun New Orleans. I know everybody that was in New Orleans, including Brink and Cruz, had an amazing time, an amazing weekend to be out there as a wrestling fan. Of course, WrestleMania, NXT, Ring of Honor's biggest show ever, the Raw and Smackdown afterwards. So we're going to talk about all that today, obviously. Mark Out Mania episode 23 for April the 14th, 2018. First, we'll dive into the Sami Callihan, a.k.a. Jeremiah Crane versus Eddie Edwards. That happened on Friday night. Then on Saturday was another big night. Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor went up against NXT. We will talk about both of those shows. Then, of course, Sunday night, WrestleMania. We'll talk about that as well. Then the Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania. A lot of surprises and returns. We'll talk about all that as well. Coming up next week will be the Superstar Shakeup. So we'll talk about who we may be thinking is going where people will land. Also, I still think there will be some call-ups as well. And then coming up at the end of the month is the Greatest Royal Rumble event, sort of an extra pay-per-view this year that they're giving us. And also we'll be able to do scorecards for that as well. I know PW Scorecards are going to be putting out some bonus scorecards. So nice. Brink, who is the scorecard champion after Brink. WrestleMania, he retains. He gets the belt. I think he had 133. Me and Cruz tied for second at 122, so we were both 11 behind him. So he kind of, once again, retains the belt. So hopefully one of us, one of the other four, me, you, obviously, Cruz or Hunter can dethrone him.
Don't count on me, dude.
Well, we get the Greatest Royal Rumble event coming up, and we're also going to talk with PW Scorecards as well coming up at the end of the month. I think it's going to be
29th.
So that's a couple of days after the Greatest Royal Rumble. So we will be able to talk, obviously, scorecards with him, what made them come up with the idea, how they do it, what goes into, because obviously every single pay-per-view, you have different matches, you have different circumstances where you have to put those certain circumstances onto these cards. So that'll be interesting to see as well. So that's coming up, obviously, at the end of the month. But today is just a day where we're going to talk about everything that happened over WrestleMania weekend leading up into the Superstar Shakeup next week.
Right, and you know what? The statistics of the gate, I'm not really worried about because it seemed like everybody made their money. Everybody had full houses.
Oh, yeah.
So that was really good. I'm wondering the statistics of how many hand grenades and hurricanes do you think they sold during that weekend? It had to be astronomical.
Absolutely.
But I'm pretty sure some of these bar owners are like, should I go ahead and retire now?
Either that or they're all, knocking down Vince McMahon's door to have WrestleMania come back to New Orleans. I mean, it's saying something because obviously 4 years ago they were in New Orleans for WrestleMania 30. Never before had WrestleMania been in New Orleans, and just a mere 4 years later they returned to New Orleans.
Such a great fit.
It is, and there's something that Vince, or, who I guess I'm assuming it's Vince, who determines which WrestleMania goes where. Something about New Orleans they really like, and I'm glad that, it was another great weekend in New Orleans. I don't know the totals of, what it did on the city, but I do know for WrestleMania 34, they broke a Superdome revenue record, $14.1 million that the Superdome just made off of WrestleMania 34. Then they ran out of certain concessions. I think meat and ice is what I heard they ran out of in the Superdome. So they weren't quite ready. Of course, the attendance was 3,000 more than it was 4 years ago.
Nice.
So I don't know, obviously, what goes into planning all that, but really cool to see that WrestleMania broke its own record. As a matter of fact, I think they had 10 million back in 2014, around 10.1 or something million in revenue at WrestleMania 30. Obviously smashing that record this year again with WrestleMania 34. So really glad that it was such a good thing for the city of New Orleans, and hopefully they come back soon, because I've said it in 2014, next time they come to New Orleans, I'm going. And this year they came back to New Orleans. Unfortunately, certain circumstances for me didn't allow me to go. Next time they come to New Orleans, you heard it here first. I will be in the middle, the thick of things in New Orleans, WrestleMania weekend, whenever they decide to come back, hopefully within the next 10 years.
Yeah, and you think about it, because I looked at some of those pricing packages. Either that means that people are doing quite well, or that means people took out a crap load of personal loans. Mm-hmm. Because, by God, is it expensive to go to WrestleMania weekend?
You know, I was looking at some of those, the packages they had, which I looked at them so long ago. I can't quite remember what it was, but I do remember the smallest package being about $1,100.
Jeez.
No thanks. A little bit out of my budget. So hopefully when they come back, I'll be a little more, stable financially than I was this year, and I'll be able to go, because I tell you what.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar. I had Brock Lesnar guts earlier this year, and that cost me a pretty penny out of my wallet. So
not only did he screw you, he screwed the WWE universe.
Oh, he worked us is what happened. Because you know what, it's crazy, and we're gonna but I think we should save that for obviously when we talk about WrestleMania coming up, about how it all went down.
Yeah,
everybody was expecting Reigns to win. Yeah, Brock Lesnar,
Dave Meltzer.
Won. Yeah, so your boy there, Dave Meltzer. So. Obviously, a bit of a swerve there to end WrestleMania, and I was honestly, part of me was okay with that swerve because of what it was. It was a swerve, unpredictable. Everybody, I mean, even on PW scorecards, they put the polls out right before the matches. Who is your pick to win? 91% of the people who filled out scorecards that at least answered that poll on Twitter, 91% said Roman Reigns, including myself. Should have went Brock Lesnar, because maybe I would have had a fight in the, in the scorecard race there a little bit. But
if you remember back, me and Brink were like contemplating whether we should do it, but we both chickened out.
Yeah, I mean, rightfully so. I think that was obviously the unanimous thing. Reigns was going to walk out of WrestleMania with the, WWE Championship, the Universal Championship, that is. So definitely a swerve that nobody saw coming, because it was basically last minute that Lesnar re-signed with the company. Yeah. So we'll dive into that, obviously, when we talk about WrestleMania. But I think the first thing you want to dive into, because you watched this match, I unfortunately didn't get a chance to watch it.
Well, before we do that, let me let everybody know where they can find us.
Oh, go ahead.
We got off on a tangent there, so that was my bad, actually. But yeah, MarkOutMania.com, that's the central hub. Of course, you can find us all over the internet, social media, Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, and iTunes. So we're everywhere. iHeartRadio. You can download us on your preferred podcast platform. Your boys will be there. So go find us at MarkOutMania.com. And speaking of Twitter, we had a little, or I say we, I got into a little sparring session with one Dave Meltzer last night.
The Dave Meltzer,
Yeah. And it was all over Baron Corbin.
Yeah, Baron Corbin was the, and you were talking to me before you sent out the tweet. You were like, I'm thinking of sending out a tweet to Dave Meltzer about Baron Corbin and tagging Vince McMahon to see. And you thought, of all people, you were going to maybe get a response from Baron Corbin.
Yeah, I thought Baron Corbin would say something.
Obviously, he's gone back and forth with some of his Twitter followers before.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, instead, you got a response from Dave Meltzer, and you can tell the rest of the story there.
Yeah, so my original tweet was at Dave Meltzer is saying that at Vince McMahon is still high on at Baron Corbin and sees him as a main eventer. Please let Uncle Melty's streak of being dead wrong continue.
So basically, you just kind of called him out saying you've been wrong. Hopefully, you continue to be wrong.
Right. And, I mean, look, let's be honest, Dave. Your track record in the last few years has not been nice. And I did a little searching on the internet, and apparently your moles on the inside were Ric Flair and, like, some other dude. And since Ric Flair is not really wrestling anymore, after he left, your correct predictions started to dwindle, sir. Mm-hmm. So I guess we knew who your inside source was. So later on, he says, yep, every Mania match I said 3 months ago before it happened except the IC title match. Then Vince pulled Strowman out as a backup plan in case something happened in the main event. Paying attention is your friend. I'm paying attention, man. And your percentages of right and wrong, So my response to that was, at Dave Meltzer, I'll spot you one pay-per-view, but 2017, Another story for another day, I guess. Oh, and Finn Balor is over, right? So then he responds to that one. Do you realize that's Vince McMahon, not me? Perhaps reading would be your friend. And here it is. This is the last one I put out. When he did the "You're Not Over" is the reason why Vince McMahon didn't have him win the title, which is a total sham. And there's stories all across the internet from different wrestling groups that he fabricated that story, that Vince McMahon doesn't feel that way, that they're just protecting the demon gimmick, and there's no way, obviously, that a little bitty Finn could win against a beast like Brock Lesnar, even if he's Demon Finn.
Yeah.
So obviously they couldn't go that way. We need somebody else to have the strap, or in the shakeup, maybe they move him to SmackDown. But anyways, my reply to that was, at Dave Meltzer, I know you remember this response to your "not over" tweet. At Finn Balor was a Universal Champ in 27 days after being called up, but Vince doesn't believe in him? Come on. And then he put, I have two problems here. If you're a troll, you have to be let go. And if you're not a troll, you don't realize how badly you missed the mark. And then my reply to that was, at Dave Meltzer, I guess we have something in common. We both have missed the mark. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it was, you definitely grabbed his attention, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was a little healthy banner.
Yeah, which at the end of the day, that's what this was, to just try and catch his attention. You know,
and isn't that what Twitter's for anyway?
Yeah, get a little exposure. You know, it's kind of like we were working him in a way. So
yeah, so this is what I want the Mark Out Nation to do.
At least you were working him. I was just kind of spectating. I was in the front row spectating.
Go on Twitter and go to Uncle Dave's page.
Nonk.
Yeah,
Nonk Dave.
And check out the little sparring session we had, and let us know who got the better of it. Just tweet us and let us know, hey, Ryan, you got it, or we think Uncle Dave took you, because I'm thinking I got the better of it. I mean, Patrick doesn't think so.
I'm not saying anybody got the better of it. It's just, you know, at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, it was some good exposure for us.
Yeah,
I say good. Some people, obviously, you know, the Meltzer has his guys that are going to back him up no matter what he says, and that's okay, because, I mean, he's, you know, you build yourself a fan. I mean, I'm a fan of Dave Meltzer in a way. I don't ever really listen to what he says other than the match ratings he gives, and, you know, I know he's been around wrestling for a very, very long time, so I trust his ratings. I still don't know what exactly he rates his matches on, per se, whether it be the pure wrestling in the ring, whether how they tell the story during the match, or I don't know his analytics into, you know, rating these matches, but certainly, you know, he's built himself a fan base, and he's going to have his guys back him up.
Oh, yeah.
But there's also probably guys out there that don't like Meltzer that could care less for him, and they're going to, you know, they came to really your aid. In this
we had plenty out there that came to our defense. And then, of course, like you were saying, the Meltzer marks were out there. Dogpiling on us.
And he has a lot of them, because between Dave Meltzer and, like, Brian Alvarez, those are two of the biggest names as far as, you know, pro wrestling news. Like, if you look up pro wrestling news, what's, you know, Dave Meltzer saying? What's Brian Alvarez saying? At least that's the two guys I would look for. I usually look for Brian Alvarez because I listen to him. They do, like, a serious show on Sunday afternoons before pay-per-view sometimes, so I would listen to them. But
so would you say the star ratings are the only thing that's keeping Dave Meltzer relevant right now? Because obviously his inside stuff isn't working out too well. I would say,
I mean, look, he's had inside information, you know, and he's been around for a long time. I would say his match ratings are what's keeping him mostly relevant, not completely relevant, because he's still obviously, he probably does have some connections, and in an instance, you know, he's going to be right at times, but then again, you know, nobody's perfect, okay? So, I mean, hell, I'm right at times. There's been times I've called things that I was right for, and there's been times that I've called things I was wrong for. So, and, you know, he was talking about, you know, how he knew every WrestleMania match with the exception of the IC title match. But when it comes to WrestleMania, a lot of people they may not know, but they have a really good idea. Like, we've been knowing Roman and Brock, obviously, we're going to fight probably since last year's WrestleMania when Brock beat Goldberg. And Taker Cena, we've been talking about that one for the longest of times. And then the Ronda Rousey match, we kind of knew for a little while. Obviously, that was going to be a mixed tag team match. We didn't know how it was going to go about, whether it'd be Angle, whether it be The Rock, whether it be Braun Strowman as her tag partner. Obviously, it ended up being Kurt Angle, which was another match, Kurt Angle versus Triple H, we thought we were going to get ever since Survivor Series, which in a way we did get that, but we got it in the form of a mixed tag team match. So as far as WrestleMania goes, we have a good idea way ahead of time what the matches are going to be, although sometimes they do, late changes a couple of weeks before the show. And, obviously, like, I don't know when they decided to make Nicholas Braun Strowman's partner, but that might have been a decision that they made 2 days before the show. So,
yeah. So it was pretty fun. But, yeah, let us know on Twitter who you think got the better in the spar.
Mm-hmm. And also follow us on Twitter at MarkOutMania, the MarkOutMania. So, that being said, next thing we're going to talk about Friday night was the Impact versus Lucha Underground, where the big storyline there was Sami Callihan, a.k.a. Jeremiah Crane, taking on Eddie Edwards in the rematch of all rematches here in 2018 so far. Of course, most of you know, Sami Callihan took a baseball bat to the eye of Eddie Edwards earlier this year, and it was
brutal.
A big storyline, whether it was intentional, unintentional, whatever the case may be. A lot of the boys in the back were getting heat on Sami Callihan for what he did. Now we get the rematch, and Ryan, you actually watched it. I unfortunately did not get to watch it. I went to watch midget wrestling with my girlfriend on Friday night, which was interesting in itself. But you got to watch it, so
were you not entertained?
So what were your thoughts on the match, the rematch?
Man, it was really good, but also there was so many things that happened there, man. Like, Alberto Del Patron got fired.
Yeah, he got fired. That was another interesting storyline that happened. It'll be interesting to see where he falls.
He was a no-show.
Because, I'm not saying he's going to show up in WWE, but if I remember correctly, Vince was really high on him.
Yeah.
And he's come and gone a couple of times. Could he be back?
Hopefully he's not on Smackdown, because him and Paige are toxic for each other, man.
Oh,
he would have to be on
He'd
Raw.
have to keep him away from Paige.
Yeah.
But obviously they're putting Xavier and Paige together, so hey, what do I know?
But yeah, and then another thing that happened before we get to this match, absolutely nuts. So Jake the Snake apparently has been talking a bunch of crap on podcasts here lately about the British Bulldog, right? Mm-hmm. So his son, Harry Jr., was at WrestleCon doing a signing and stuff like that. He confronted. Have you heard this?
I have not.
Oh, geez. He confronted Jake the Snake and said, hey, I want you to apologize for the stuff that you've been saying about my dad lately. He essentially told him, no. And so then Harry Jr. challenged him to a fight outside.
Oh, this was in New Orleans?
Yes. So then Jake the Snake dropped the F-bomb on him and just walked away. Later on, fast forward a few minutes, Jake's at his table signing, taking pictures. Harry walks up and throws a hot cup of coffee in his face.
Okay, I did hear about that. I do remember about the hot cup of coffee.
I mean, come on, dude. You're in the prime of your life, and this is an old, beat-down, decrepit man.
He's that survived cancer.
Yes.
Well, I think he might still. He had it at one time. I'm not sure if he still has it or not.
He was on the precipice of death, and DDP brought him back from the dark abyss of death. And you want to do this to him?
Throw hot coffee on him?
I understand you want to,
defend your dad.
Yeah, defend your dad's honor.
But you can defend him in other ways.
Right. And, come on, man. This just makes you look bad because you're in the prime of your life. You're an in-shape athlete. And then this guy is lucky if he can get out of bed in the morning. Like he's really going to go outside and fight you, dude. Mm-hmm. Come on, man. And the hot coffee to the face, that is so Valley Girl. I mean, a man doesn't do that, bro. What are you thinking, man? I mean, you got to be a little bit better than that, man. And you got to think about it. Jake the Snake is doing whatever he can to get paid. He's at that point in his life where he's so far removed that really who wants Jake the Snake on any of their stuff anymore? But if Jake the Snake is going to say something crazy, yeah, have him on.
Oh, yeah. Now, you talk about Jake the Snake Roberts. I'm actually looking it up right now. I think next Friday night, April the 20th, yep, it's going to be Jake the Snake Roberts and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, their Unspoken World Tour at the Worst Beer Garden over in Lafayette.
No way.
Next Friday night, Jake the Snake Roberts and Hacksaw Jim Duggan will be downtown Lafayette, Louisiana.
They're just telling like stories, like road
I
stories
guess,
and
something
stuff?
like that. I mean, us wrestling fans like us. I'm debating on going still. I don't know if there's like tickets available or not. I need to look into it. I was debating on actually going to that. That would be really cool to go. Just listen, maybe take some pictures with Jake the Snake or Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
dude, if you go, please get us some drops.
that would be cool.
Like, I know it's going to be kind of like a mark out type situation because these are two huge former stars.
Oh yeah,
but keep that in the back of your mind.
I definitely will. I don't even know if I'm going or not yet. I'm
Pull up the QuickTime recorder before you get to them, so that when you go to take a picture, you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. I need to get some drops.
Yep. So that's what's going on next Friday. But back to what we were
that'd be
talking
pretty
about.
cool. But yeah, so the match between, and I still don't get why, and I saw like the little promo he did, and I mean, I guess it makes kind of sense because he was like, everybody wants Sami Callihan, but they're not going to get Sami Callihan, you know?
Yeah.
And he was like, they'll get Jeremiah Crane. Well, anyways, but everybody knows it's Sami Callihan. But, and I got to give him props. The Twitch stream was great. And Josh Matthews and the guy that does it for Lucha Underground, Matt Stryker, they had some pretty good commentary. They were good together. And I think they enjoyed themselves.
Yeah, I heard somebody praising Josh Matthews on Reddit. So that I don't know what they were praising, talking about. He was the MVP of the weekend. Not sure. I didn't read much into it because I was like, well, okay, it's random, but whatever.
Yeah.
So some people were praising him, obviously, on Reddit for whatever it was he was doing. So that was good.
But the match was brutal, man. I mean, it definitely was very physical. They knew what the people wanted. The people wanted to see retribution. And the people wanted to see, them just beat the crap out of each other. And that's what they gave us, man. It was a great match. I don't know what Uncle Dave would rate it, but man, I was highly entertained. It was like one of those matches where, and of course, the Jeremiah Crane character is kind of unhinged as well, just like the Sami Callihan character. Mm-hmm. So it's like I was, every time he'd pick up something, I'd be like, oh God, what's going to happen next?
You were waiting for it to happen.
Yes. So it was really good, and having the Impact do the show with Lucha, that was really cool because they brought their best, and Lucha brought their best, and so it was some really good matches, man. And I'd say the whole Twitch thing, that's going to be a hit, dude.
Hopefully it could help them a little bit, at least make them become a little more competitive in the pro wrestling industry, because right now they're tailing behind the likes of WWE, New Japan, and Ring of Honor, and it's probably a far fourth that they're in. But that could help.
And that'd be another revenue stream for them because people can donate on Twitch. You have ads on Twitch, and people who are career Twitchers that are really good at what they do, they make a lot of money, dude.
Oh yeah.
So if they can build a fan base on Twitch, that's another revenue stream getting it in there.
Absolutely. So, with that being said, you want to dive in now to Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor. All right, this was the show Jonathan Brinkman and Crew Smith were at, our two buddies here at MarkOutMania. And Brink told me, best live show he's ever been to, not even close. And, I mean, I watched it online after the Honor Club. Finally, the stream was able to come on. I missed, the first hour of the show, but I started watching. It was Sami Sakai and Kelly Klein, the Ring of Honor Women of Honor Championship title match. That was the first one I matched. And then after that was the 3-on-3 ladder match. Arguably the best match of the night at Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor. Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, Scorpio Sky taking on Flip Gordon, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks. Did you happen to catch that match?
I just saw the steals that Brink was sending us in that we were posting on Markout Mania. Yeah, that looked epic, dude. Like right when the Young Bucks came in there, all the streamers were flowing into the ring.
Oh yes,
I like the way they do that. It gives it kind of like an epic feel to the match.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's a unique thing that they do over there that they only do, I think, in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
So certainly a unique thing that they do there. Overall, this show was fantastic. I have the results right here in front of me. The 2 semifinal matches for the Women of Honor tournament. Kelly Klein defeated Mayu Iwatani. I think that's how you say it. And then Sakai defeated Tennille Dashwood. And then the main card, Chucky T defeated Jonathan Gresham. Punishment Martinez defeated Ishii. And this match right here, also one of the better matches of the night, Kota Ibushi defeating Hangman Page. Dave Meltzer actually giving that one 4.25 stars.
Nice.
Obviously, Sakai defeated Kelly Klein for the Women of Honor Championship. Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky defeated Flip Gordon, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson for the Ring of Honor 6-man Tag Team Championship. Dave also gave that one 4.25 stars as well.
Nice.
Keep that in mind. Jay Briscoe and Mark Briscoe defeated Tanahashi and Jay Lethal for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. Silas Young defeated Kenny King in a last man standing match. That was a really good finish to that match. I watched that one for the World Television title, Ring of Honor. Rhett Titus and Will Ferrara. This was a draw with Bully Ray and Cheeseburger. Bully Ray came out, actually, and started cutting his promo and basically turned heel. Was what happened there. It was kind of crazy.
But he's still tagged with Cheeseburger?
It was a thing where Cheeseburger had a tag team partner, but Titus and Ferrara beat them all up. So basically, Cheeseburger was left without a partner, and then Bully Ray comes out, and Cheeseburger's like, Bully, you got to be my tag team partner, this and that. So they start tagging up for a little while, but then Bully turns on him. Is like, how dare you put me on the spot? This and that. Basically turns heel, cuts a promo on him, and beats the hell out of Cheeseburger.
Gotcha. Okay, I was wondering how that was going.
Cody defeated Kenny Omega in what? Yes, Cody defeated Kenny Omega in another 4.25 star match by Dave Meltzer. This one was 37 minutes. I was watching this match with my girlfriend. She was cooking for me and stuff, and I just ate 2 big old plates of her delicious food.
What you cook?
Sausage and chicken in a gravy. It was delicious. I'm actually going to
with rice.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually going to attempt to duplicate that tonight at some point. I doubt I do it as good as she did it, but man, it was so good. But nonetheless, I ate 2 plates of that. So I was laying down watching this match. She's pulling for Cody. I'm pulling for Kenny.
Yeah.
I doze off during the match, and then she wakes me up after the match. She's like, "Hey, Cody won." I was like, "You couldn't have woke me up."
Thanks a lot.
If you see me sleeping during that match, that's the match I wanted to watch. Like, hey, wake me up. Like, slap me or something. Make sure I don't fall asleep.
You thought you were doing me a favor, but here's what happened. I missed the finish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I missed I watched probably at least over half of that match.
Could you rewind it like you can on like WWE Network?
No, I mean I wasn't familiar with it, so I wasn't trying to mess with all that. Also, the last match, Dalton Castle retained his Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title against Marty Scurll in a match that went 31 minutes, but was only 2.75 stars according to Dave Meltzer.
Dang.
So Dave. Very critical of that match. Yeah. But I tell you what, watching that, obviously Cody and Kenny, I did finish watching that match. It was an incredible match. Arguably the match of the weekend with a couple of other matches that were out there. Obviously the 3-on-3 ladder match with Daniels, Kazarian, Sky, Flip Gordon, Jackson, Matt, and Nick Jackson. That was another great match.
Well, I wonder if that match scored so low, their title match scored so low because it came right after Cody Omega.
It's possible.
And so
because I wouldn't want to look. If I'm Castle and Scurll, I'm thinking, okay, I know.
Why am I the main event?
Well, it's the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title, so I can understand why it's in the main event on any other night. But if you got Cody and Kenny Omega to follow, I'd tell whoever's in charge of putting this match order together, hey, look, I don't want to follow those 2 guys because I thought it was co-main event. Obviously, Cody and Kenny should have gone on last. Mm-hmm. At least in that particular scenario. Yeah. But I do see what Ring of Honor was trying to do by putting the importance of the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title last on the show, so I do understand it from that point. But Kenny Omega, arguably the best wrestler in the world right now, I mean,
but if it's a 2-star match, you leave people leaving on a low.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh my God, that was one of the best matches I've ever seen in my life.
But I think overall, everybody was very satisfied with that show.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Kenny got the biggest pop of the night by far. I did see when he came out, biggest pop of the night by far. And Brinkman and Cruz both agree because I think they both were probably popping louder for those two guys as well.
I was wondering because I was asking on our Facebook Markout Crew pod, hey, you guys started taking pictures yet? And they were like, no, not yet. We just got here, but we just fist bumped Jay Briscoe once he got out of his car. And I wanted to ask Cruz so bad, but I forgot. Did he smell bad? Because Cruz said on a podcast a few months ago that he thought the Briscoes would smell terrible.
I don't know. I didn't. We should have asked him, but I don't know. I guess that's a question we can have. Obviously, he'll be on the show again at some point in the next few weeks. But with that being said, great show. The three best matches from that night: Cody and Kenny, the 3-on-3 ladder match with Daniels, Kazarian, Sky, Flip Gordon, Matt, and Nick Jackson, and then Kota Ibushi and Hangman Page was another tremendous match. Those are the three matches you definitely want to go watch if you have not watched Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor yet. It was a great show. I think 6,000 people packed the Lakefront Arena in New Orleans, and it was as loud as it could be for 6,000 people. Yeah, that one shot that Brink had of like the pullback of the crowd, there is stand-in room only in this place. One of the hottest tickets, obviously, in New Orleans on that Saturday night. Another hot ticket that Saturday night, though, as we jump on over, I guess I don't know where the Lakefront Arena is compared to the Smoothie King Center, but NXT TakeOver New Orleans was also going on at the same time, and this show had 2 5-star matches, the first time that has ever happened in WWE. Well-deserved. Yes, well-deserved. What a show this was. I can't say enough about what Triple H is doing with this brand. God bless you, sir. At one point, I was starting to question where the brand was going to go long-term because, when you start losing these guys like a Samoa Joe, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, obviously, a while back they had Rollins, Reigns, Ambrose. You had guys like Ty Dillinger who put on great matches, Finn Balor. You had all these guys like, where they Shinsuke's gone now, Bobby Roode's gone. Where are you going to start finding some more guys to, carry this brand? Well, they've been finding guys to carry this brand. Let me go over the results here real quick. The 6-man ladder match for the NXT North American Championship, arguably the match. Oh, my goodness. Maybe one of the matches of the year so far. And you know what? I was wondering why they put 2 big guys in there. But they did great at giving these big guys spots that were like everybody got their due out of this match. Yeah, and I think at one point it was Killian Dane with Adam Cole on top of him. They killed EC3 at some point. Yes, I remember that. EC3's took so much damage in this match. Yes, he did. Oh, my God. But I tell you what, I was impressed with everybody in this match, especially Ricochet. I tell you what, he was flying all over the place from the get-go. This dude is going to be, he is special. I'm not going to say he's going to be because he already is special. A little bit of a surprise, in my opinion. Adam Cole came out on top, winning the NXT North American Championship. He won that match. That match got 5 stars from Dave Meltzer, so high praise. And that's how they started the show. It was an absolutely perfect way to start the show. One of the funniest parts I thought in there was when EC3, after he teamed up with Adam Cole and they beat up pretty much everybody, he was like, EC3, baby! And then that started out like the super kick. Everybody got a super kick from Adam Cole after that. And then a huge pop when he did his Adam Cole, baby. Oh, yeah. Everybody, that was fun, man. Everybody is on the Adam Cole, baby train. The next match, Shayna Baszler defeated Ember Moon by a way of knockout. What rating did that match get? That got 3.25 stars. That is the lowest. Yeah, that deserved it. That is tied for the lowest rated match of the night with the tag team. It was not good. It wasn't good. No. A lot of people were saying that you should go back and rewatch it. It was actually better than some people were saying. It's better than you may have thought, but nonetheless, I'm glad Ember Moon is on the main roster, though. I love me some Ember Moon. Yeah, she's good. The next match, Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly defeating Akam and Razor, also Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong, which Roderick Strong had a heel turn and is now a member of the Undisputed Era. Yeah, and I tell you what, Kyle O'Reilly
I've never really seen him wrestle, to be honest with you. And I always thought he was just like this goofy, pasty, Canadian, or whatever. That dude is quick, vicious, and he's a great wrestler.
Oh yeah.
So I was really surprised. I was like, dang, this faction is fixing to be the hottest faction in the world.
You know what we need to do now that I'm thinking about it? We need to go on our Twitter and Facebook pages, and we need to put a poll up. We should do this after the show.
Yeah.
Which show was better, Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor, or NXT TakeOver New Orleans?
Yeah.
I want to hear some. That's a debatable topic. Which show was better? Because you got, obviously, 3 matches of Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor that were tremendous matches. And you got 2 5-star matches from NXT TakeOver New Orleans.
Yeah.
So I want to. So we need to put that poll up after the show. Which show was better? We should have done that a long time ago, but the ratings just came out earlier this week. Let me continue now on the results here. Aleister Black, he's the new NXT champion, defeating Andrade Cien Almas by pinfall. Johnny Gargano submitted Tommaso Ciampa in an unsanctioned match. That match also getting 5 stars, and what a brutal match that was.
Dude, how nobody bled from that match, I have no
idea. Match, you were talking about how, Sami Callihan, a.k.a. Jeremiah Crane versus Eddie Edwards, how that match had the possibility of being brutal, and it was in a way. Yeah. But this match right here,
oh my goodness!
I mean, look, it got 5 stars. That's all you need to know. It got 5 stars. Johnny Gargano, his second 5-star match of the year. The dude is a 5-star match machine. He needs to stay in NXT for right now. Obviously, he's going to be at the main roster at some point sooner than later. But what Johnny Gargano is doing in NXT, putting on these great matches, my goodness gracious. I do want to see Gargano and Black next for the NXT Championship. I think that, hell, I wouldn't mind see Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole for the NXT North American Championship.
Yeah.
That would be another fantastic match. And you got all these other guys that were in that ladder match. EC3, Killian Dane, Lars Sullivan, Ricochet, and the Velveteen Dream. All of those guys were very impressive to put together that 5-star 6-man ladder match. It was absolutely unbelievable. And that was the match I was looking most forward to last weekend.
And you had tweeted something out about the Gargano Ciampa match, and this one guy said that it was amazing. Another guy tweeted that South Park one where the guy spooges all over the all over the room.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
And then I replied to one of the guys. I said, "Dude, Johnny Gargano would be a top guy in New Japan right now."
Oh, he would.
I don't know why they're still keeping this guy in NXT.
Well, you see, the bad thing is unfortunately with Triple H running NXT and Vince running the main roster, it's like when some of these guys go to the main roster, it's like what they're allowed to do in the ring. It seems like it just like they take away about 30% of what they, and that 30% is like some of the best stuff that they do, it seems like. And I don't know, the way that WWE is being booked, obviously the main roster not nearly as well as what the way NXT is being booked right now. So hopefully sooner than later Triple H is taking over the main roster, because we've all seen that this NXT product just gets better and better and better. And every single time someone says, what's the best NXT takeover ever, it's always the latest one.
Exactly. And, props to the people in the back. And speaking of producers, we just heard that Shawn Michaels just got a producing job with NXT. And on that leaked page that came out, I saw Matt Bloom's name on there as well. Did they hire him back?
They might have.
Apparently.
It's funny you were talking about Shawn Michaels. I think Shawn Michaels and Michael Hayes produced that ladder match. So that right there, Shawn Michaels helped produce the 5-star match. So very, very interesting.
But yeah, thank God to whoever said, yeah, you can powerbomb this dude on the concrete.
Oh yeah,
because that was off the mat.
Oh my, yeah,
that was epic.
It was.
I can't believe that dude didn't break ribs or his back. I don't know. I couldn't take a bump like that. There's no way. I would not get up. I'd be like, you're just going to have to pin me right here, dude. I'm
just
done.
Pick me up, put me in the ring, pin me, bye-bye.
Yeah.
So NXT TakeOver, another great show. We're going to put that poll up, obviously, on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Which show was better? Because I really want to hear from the Markout Nation about what show you thought overall was better. Because it's a neck-and-neck race as far as I'm concerned. I would say overall better. Man, it's so tough. If I had to say overall better, I would give a slight edge to NXT because the lowest rated match there was 3.25 stars. You got 2 5-star matches, whereas Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor had a ton of matches. They were very top heavy. They had 3 matches that were 4.25 stars, but then you got the rest of the matches, which your main event was 2 3/4 stars, not that great, and then you have some other matches that were okay too, but it was just overall from top to bottom, you got to give NXT the edge, in my opinion.
I'm pretty sure, just like you were saying, with people in attendance, everybody who saw ROH is going to say ROH.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody who saw NXT is going to say NXT because the environment at both of those places was off the chain. Those fans were all up in it, drinking that Kool-Aid. And just sitting at home, I haven't seen the Ring of Honor yet. I still want to buy it off of Fight TV. Shout out. Give us a sponsor, Fight TV.
Absolutely.
But where was I going with this? Yeah, I'm going to have to give the edge to NXT as well because, golly, man. From start to finish, even though I didn't enjoy the Ember Moon, Shayna Baszler fight, that was a solid card from start to finish.
It was.
It had me like gasping and holding my mouth and saying, oh my God, so many times. They knew right across town that Ring of Honor was giving their sweat and blood and tears, and they were not going to be outdone.
Absolutely. So, and obviously big ups to both shows. Both shows really delivered.
Yeah, they knew they had to come with it, and both of them delivered.
Absolutely. So that was an epic Saturday night in New Orleans between Ring of Honor and NXT. But now we're going to move on to Sunday, obviously the big show, WrestleMania 34 from the Superdome. A lot of matches, a lot of things happened in this show, obviously. Let me go over the results, and then we could just dive into. We'll just kind of just random discuss about some random.
We got some polls too.
Oh, we got some polls. Okay,
over,
Matt Hardy won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal with the help of Bray Wyatt. A little bit of a surprise there. Cedric Alexander defeated Mustafa Ali for the Cruiserweight title. Naomi, in a little bit of a surprise, won the Women's Battle Royal after Bayley eliminated Sasha. We thought they made it look like it was Bayley and Sasha to be the last two. Bayley eliminates Sasha, and then Naomi comes out of nowhere, eliminates Bayley, and that's how she won. The Intercontinental title match started off the main card. Seth Rollins defeated The Miz and Finn Balor. The second match, 2 of the better matches of the night, Charlotte Flair defeated Asuka, ending the streak for the SmackDown Women's title. Jinder Mahal defeated Bobby Roode, Randy Orton, and Rusev for the United States title. The match of the night, also the longest match of the night as well by 16 seconds, was Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey defeating Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, where Ronda Rousey submitted Stephanie McMahon. We'll definitely talk about that match. That was the talk of WrestleMania, in my opinion. Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, the Bludgeon Brothers, defeated the Usos and the New Day to become new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. The Undertaker showed up, defeated John Cena in the shortest match of the night, 2 minutes, 46 seconds. Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon. Glad to see Daniel Bryan back in the ring. He submitted, I think it was Sami Zayn he submitted. It was Sami Zayn, I believe, and won that match. So Daniel Bryan in his return to New Orleans, where, of course, he won the World Heavyweight title, the WWE World Heavyweight title 4 years ago. Nia Jax defeated Alexa Bliss. AJ Styles defeated Shinsuke Nakamura in the second longest match of the night. And then, of course, Shinsuke with the heel turn after the match, low-blowing AJ Styles. Braun Strowman and Nicholas defeated Sheamus and Cesaro for the Raw Tag Team Championships. And then in the shocker of the night, in my opinion, Brock Lesnar defeating Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. So with that being said,
swerved.
Yeah, we all got swerved that night. So with that being said, I think we had a poll as to what everyone's favorite match was. Is that correct?
Yes, at MarkOutMania.com, and it's still up if you want to go cast a vote. We'll keep it up for the next few days. But yeah, number one match was Rousey Angle versus Steph Triple H.
Absolutely. We had any other votes? For other matches?
Definitely. Yeah. Intercontinental Championship was number 2. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Charlotte Flair, Asuka was number 2. Intercontinental Championship was number 3. And a tie for number 4, Strowman Nicholas versus The Bar, and Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, and a few other matches got a few other votes. But
Yeah, so
let's go ahead and start at the card, and let's give out the match ratings. Do you have that?
Yes,
as well?
I do have the match ratings. Okay,
let's do that.
The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal 1.5.
Oh, God. Yeah, that deserved it. We saw the lineup, and we knew that was going to be a dud.
Yeah, also the Women's Battle Royal got 1.5 as well. The Cruiserweight title match, 3 stars. Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and The Miz got 3.5 stars.
Yeah, that match wasn't really that good, to be honest with you.
I think it was. Yeah, I would agree. Maybe at most 4. I would have given it a 4. But 3.5, that's about right. It could have been better. But
with those guys, that should have been one of the best matches of the night.
Yeah, it should have been. Charlotte Flair and Asuka got 4 stars.
4 stars?
Yeah.
That match was crap.
You didn't like that match?
No. At Charlotte, when it first started out, Charlotte was off, and she kind of got back into it in the middle of the match, and then she hurt her arm, and then,
I think that was
I did not enjoy it.
I think it was a great match. I think 4 stars is about where it should be, so I would, agree that 4 stars. Honestly, as far as pure wrestling, it was probably a better wrestling match than any of the guys had, except with the exception of maybe Styles and Nakamura. It was close to Styles and Nakamura, in my opinion.
And I'm a Queen Mark. Like, I love Charlotte Flair, and I did not enjoy that match at all.
I liked it. I thought I didn't like the fact that Asuka's streak came to an end, but Brink said it while we were watching. I agree with him. If anybody were to beat Asuka's streak, let it be Charlotte Flair. You're ahead of the women's revolution in WWE right now.
And then What Culture said it best too. Obviously Asuka's at the end of her career, even though she can go for quite a while. But Charlotte's younger. She needs to take the torch because obviously she's going to be with the company longer. Yeah. Plus, with her lineage being a Flair.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that match got 4 stars. The U.S. title match, 2.75 stars. Jeez. That's about right.
Thanks, gender.
The highest rated match of the night: Kurt Angle, Ronda Rousey, Stephanie, Triple H. 4.25 stars there. So definitely a good job from that match. I rewatched that match. The pure wrestling was not the best, but it was good.
Right.
But as far
the entertainment value,
the entertainment value was absolutely there. Probably the most entertaining match of the night. Then you have Eric Rowan, Luke Harper winning the WWE SmackDown Tag Team titles. 2-star match there. This is the second lowest rated match of the night. The Undertaker versus John Cena, 1.25 stars.
Well deserved. I mean, what were they thinking? Who booked this match? I mean, this is crap. You got The Undertaker, who's an old man who only wrestles once a year. Obviously, Cena's part-time as well. But he's still a viable part of your storyline, or he could be if you want him to. But he's still around.
Yeah.
And then you squash Cena when you couldn't even squash Shane McMahon? Come on, man. That makes no sense at all.
I don't know. But I think the way the match, it could have been executed a lot better. There was a big boot that it was way off. As far as how the match went, that's probably the best case scenario. It could have went a little bit longer. But at the age The Undertaker is at, and as little as he wrestles, you don't want him in the ring very long because, one, he's going to get tired very quickly. So at least we got 2 minutes and 46 seconds of The Undertaker at least moving around, doing something, not a slow-paced match. And as far as I'm concerned, the execution wasn't great. I agree with the 1.25 stars. If it was executed better as far as the moves and everything, it could have been a really cool experience to see Undertaker squash Cena because, like I said, with where The Undertaker is at in his career, this was the best case scenario. A very quick, fast-paced match where Taker just squashes Cena because Cena's been talking all this trash, and then, in my opinion, they made it to where Cena looked extremely intimidated now that The Undertaker just showed up out of nowhere, and I think that was one of my favorite parts of the night, honestly, when The Undertaker came back. He got one of the biggest pops because, obviously he's The Undertaker at WrestleMania. You can't have WrestleMania without The Undertaker nowadays, in my opinion. So,
you have Cena squash a young dude at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
But he can't handle, a near 60-year-old man.
Well, it's The Undertaker, it's...
Yeah, but he's not the same Undertaker anymore. He's already been defeated twice at WrestleMania.
Yeah, but both by 2... you got a Lesnar who's a monster. You got Reigns who is, supposed to be the next big thing for Vince McMahon. They'd book him a little better, but two legitimate losses, I think, to the Undertaker.
Yeah, and I don't understand where this is going because obviously you can't have any storyline with Taker now because he's not going to be back until maybe next WrestleMania.
Well, no, he's going to be at the Greatest Royal Rumble event.
Oh, he is.
He's fighting Chris Jericho.
That's right.
At the in a casket match. We'll dive into that obviously towards.
That's right. Have you heard anything more why Rusev was pulled?
No, I have not.
I wonder if he's finally going to get his release.
Probably.
I hope so.
It sucks because, he came in as a heel and he had that big long run with the U.S. title. Cena buried him at WrestleMania 31. And then since then, he's just kind of not been back at that level. And now with the Rusev Day thing, he's getting back to that level, except as you could do him as a face. Mm-hmm. And now... Yeah. I don't know.
You know what's going to happen? They probably own the rights to Rusev. So when he leaves, he's going to have to be somebody else. He's not going to be able to be Rusev anymore. He's not going to have Rusev Day. Mm-hmm. But this guy, whatever he does, he's going to be a star, dude. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't understand. Whatever name he picks, it's going to be whatever day. And it's just going to be as big as Rusev Day.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But, continuing now with the star ratings of the matches. Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, 3.25. That's kind of low for those four guys. Those four guys should have put on a way better match than they did. Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss got 2.75 stars. AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura got 3.75 stars. Strowman and Nicholas and Cesaro and Sheamus, the lowest rated match of the night. I guess in a way, 1 star because I can understand 1 wasn't a very long match. 2, I think a lot of people were disappointed that we didn't get a big name as Strowman's partner. Rather, we got this kid. So maybe that's what Uncle Dave was insinuating when he gave it 1 stars. Because let's be real, it wasn't a great match. It was somewhat entertaining, but was it the worst match of the night? I would argue it's probably a little bit better than John Cena and The Undertaker.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's crazy. And then they relinquished the titles the next night. So
right.
We'll dive into that in a minute, though. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns got 3 stars, which I don't think that match was that bad. A lot of people just given, because nobody likes Roman Reigns. Everybody thought, Lesnar was leaving. No, the fans were not into that match. And to be honest, I kind of wasn't. But when he got busted open, then I was like, because that wasn't even planned, by the way. I don't think that was planned. I think Lesnar went into business. You take those big old elbows, something's going to happen. I think them two, they went into business for themselves, and they said, all right, I'm about to bust you open. Like
that's probably why Vince was so ticked after the match, and him and Brock had words.
Exactly why he was ticked, because Reigns was not supposed to get busted open like that. And you know what's funny? Roman Reigns... The whole up until the match, Roman Reigns thought he was winning. He was being told, as Lesnar was walking down the ramp by the referee, you're going to lose this match. Wow. Lesnar is winning this match. Because they re-signed Lesnar on Sunday afternoon right before WrestleMania.
Wow.
So Roman was going to win the entire time until Lesnar re-signed Sunday afternoon, and they switched the match. Wow. So, I don't know. It's crazy. It's a crazy business how it happens like that.
And you know what? You brought up a great point that, of course he's going to re-sign because he's going to have a suspension in the UFC that he's got to work out.
Well, here's the thing. I've heard that he either signed an extension through SummerSlam or I saw somewhere else he signed a multi-year deal where he can do both WWE and UFC.
Yeah.
I don't know the complete details of it just yet. I'm still kind of trying to figure that out.
Right.
But it's one of those two, I think, because we do expect him to be around at least until SummerSlam, because the rumor is Bobby Lashley will take that title from him at SummerSlam. Obviously, Bobby Lashley coming back on Monday Night Raw this past Monday. But with that being said, gave you the star matches there. What was your biggest takeaway from WrestleMania?
My biggest takeaway was, wow, NXT was so much better. Mm-hmm. Like I really didn't think WrestleMania was that good of a show, to be honest with you. It had so many holes. Like, I didn't enjoy the Charlotte match. I didn't even watch the pre-show because I knew the Battle Royals were going to be crap.
Surprisingly, they had interesting endings.
Yeah, right.
They had very interesting endings.
I didn't enjoy pretty much the whole pay-per-view, to be honest with you. I didn't have a good time. Like, on one of our polls that we put up, and this was the poll that had the most votes ever of one of our polls at 566 votes. Will Cena fight Taker at WrestleMania? 72% said yes, 28% said no. I thought it was pretty cool how they kind of worked that out, where Elias came out and you thought it was going to be Taker.
Yeah.
Right, and then Cena was
good way to get some heat
whatever,
on
and his music hits, and he's like, well, I guess it's not going to happen. And then all of a sudden, we get the match. That was
I think the
cool.
build-up to the match was excellent. All this anticipation on if Taker was going to show up. Everybody knew he was going to show up, but WWE did every single thing they could to make us believe he wasn't going to show up until the very last second. I really enjoyed how they built it up like that. Obviously, the match could have been executed so much better, but as far as the build-up to that match, I kind of marked out when The Undertaker came out. So
another poll that was really successful for us with 347 votes. I wish WrestleMania could be every weekend. If Hogan's music starts to play at WrestleMania 34, what is your reaction? 67% say pop, 33% said pissed. And of course, one of the rumors was out there that was, okay, since Daniel Bryan is coming back to action, Hogan would possibly be the GM for Smackdown.
Yeah.
Did you think he was going to show up at WrestleMania? And no, we'd been hearing rumblings that they were trying to work out a contract.
I had zero. I knew there was a 0% chance he was showing up at WrestleMania. There's just nothing he could have done at WrestleMania to. I would have said a better chance of him showing up on SmackDown to be the new general manager, but obviously not the case anymore.
He could have came out and cupped his ear a few times and, I'm back, brother.
No, I just don't see where. Like, if he would have come back, he would have to come back out to make some kind of save, like he did at WrestleMania, I think, 21.
But his hip couldn't take the run down the platform.
No, absolutely not. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'd be happy to see him, but if you're going to bring him back in a legitimate capacity. Like, give him a good reason to be back. Whether, I don't know if he's ever going to get in the ring again, I doubt it, or to be the Raw SmackDown general manager, who knows? But right now, none of that is the case. So if you have nothing legitimate for him, just let him, don't put him on TV. He can still be an ambassador for the company and be a spokesman or whatever. As far as having him on TV on a storyline or whatever, no, I think that's over with. So, but my thoughts on WrestleMania. First half of the show was excellent. I thought they were real hot, especially after the Kurt Angle Ronda Rousey match. That
was the only match that I enjoyed.
After that match, like, they could have really, and then they hit you with the SmackDown Tag Team title squash match, then the Taker Cena squash match, Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn match, which was okay. And then Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss, kind of a squash match. Styles and Nakamura was a good match. It was just a little too slow paced for me. They could have went so much quicker, and it would have been a lot more exciting. But I don't know, the match was just too slow to develop, and almost lost my interest. The most exciting part of that match was when Shinsuke turned heel and low blowed AJ after the match, and then the Raw tag team titles, and then Lesnar, Roman Reigns. So they really lost a lot of steam in the second half of the show, in my opinion, after such a a tremendous first couple of hours. It was great, but they lost steam at the end.
I think Ronda really surprised us all.
That match should have gone on way later in the show.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think the downfall of that match goes to Bucky the Beaver, Kevin Dunn. You need to find some different camera angles, dude, because you really exposed her arm bar on Triple H and on Stephanie. You exposed that move for what it was, and you got to have a better camera angle than that. That makes it look more legit.
I don't even like the camera work that he does, like that they do anymore. Like, it's because sometimes they'll miss things, or they'll shoot it in a way where it just doesn't look as good as it could have looked.
But I tell you what, they nailed the Ronda getting tagged. You got the ISO camera on her running with the mad face towards Stephanie, and then they split to the camera that shows Stephanie flipping over the rope by the hair. That was a really good camera segment. I'll give you that one, Bucky. But other than that, that's the only match that really, really tickled my fancy.
Yeah, so obviously now with WrestleMania happening, we move over to Raw on Monday night and talk about some surprises that we had Monday night on Raw. The first surprise we got was the debut of Ember Moon. She teamed with Nia Jax to beat Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. We also saw the debut of No Way Jose, which a lot of people basically are saying he's Adam Rose 2.0.
Exactly.
And he's going to be nothing more than a mid-carder, which seems legit. And I don't even know if he's going to be that much because Adam Rose wasn't even that much.
When he came out, I was like, you got to be kidding me. You got all these cats in NXT that could be a bona fide star on main roster, and you call up No Way Jose?
I don't know, but he defeated some jobber, John Skyler.
Yeah.
And maybe the quickest debut match in history, 25 seconds. Then you have Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, the Revival. They beat the Club for a chance now. They're going to get a chance against Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt.
Nice.
For a chance at the Raw Tag Team titles at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Mandy Rose defeated Sasha Banks. Authors of Pain also made their debut. They defeated Heath Slater and Rhino in under a minute. Bray Wyatt, Matt Hardy defeated Apollo and Titus O'Neil. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they had a match where the winner would be on Raw, loser would basically be out of a job. It was a double countout, so neither one won the match. So now Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they're kind of, went off into oblivion.
They're
now.
in wrestling purgatory.
They're basically so it'll be interesting to see where they pop up, whether it be in WWE or somewhere else. I don't know. And then also Jeff Hardy returned, teaming with Finn Balor and Seth Rollins to defeat Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, and The Miz. Also, Bobby Lashley made his return after I think about 10 years going from WWE. That was the biggest. To me, that was the biggest moment of the night. Bobby Lashley coming back because obviously, I think there's some big plans for him long term. And he was here 10 years ago, and he was a good wrestler, not the best talker. But now that he's gone, I think he went to Impact for a little while, and I haven't watched him in Impact, but supposedly he's improved in a lot of aspects, not just in his wrestling, but in him cutting promos.
Yeah, and you know what? That segment made no sense to me. I'm all about Bobby Lashley coming back. But he came in, he beat up Elias for no reason. Why do you have heat with Elias? Why would you come in and beat him up? And then his reaction after he beat up Elias, you get the idea that they're going to book him as a face. So then why would he come in and beat up a dude for no reason if he's going to be a face?
Well, I guess because Elias is the heel who's basically trash. Every time he goes to somewhere, he's trashing the audience, whatever. Bobby Lashley comes out, shuts him up, to please the crowd.
Well, then he should have said something like, that's for you, New Orleans, or, something like, or nobody talks smack about New Orleans.
Well, maybe right now they're just trying to, because he had a backstage interview, I think a WWE.com exclusive. Go on their YouTube page. He did a little backstage interview with him. So I think right now they're trying to maybe minimize his mic time and just go out there. Because dude looks great, by the way.
Oh, my God,
dude looks in tremendous shape.
Like an Adonis.
So he's, right now, they're going to try and just, let him do his talking with his wrestling. And I'm okay with an Elias-Bobby Lashley feud to get him back. And because right now Elias is one of the hot heels, I guess you could say. And Bobby Lashley is going to be the new hot superstar that's back. Some of the WWE universe, at least some of the kind of older kids, are familiar with Bobby Lashley from him being here 10 years ago. Looks so much better. And he's going to be, the face, obviously the new face here on Raw. And have him feud with Elias off the top is a good idea for me. I think, obviously, I guess they'll fight probably next week on Raw. They'll feud for a little bit. Maybe they'll have a match at the Greatest Royal, or they'll both be in the Greatest Royal Rumble match. So that'll be fun as well. I'm looking forward to that.
Do you think Elias is kind of stealing like Rick Rude's crowd gimmick?
Not necessarily. No, I mean it's.
Like the only thing is he just has a guitar and he sings.
He's the drifter But he's got, I tell you what, he's over with the crowd in a way because every time he, says, what does WWE stands for, and the crowd, boom, walk with Elias there.
Yeah.
I mean, chanting as loud as they can chant it. and stuff, and yet they still chant him, and he still sits there, shut your mouths, silence your cell phones and stuff. And I like what Elias is doing. I think that guitar, he's not the greatest singer in the world. Right. He's a decent guitar player, I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But it's different, I think, and it's somewhat interesting every time he comes out. So they always put him in interesting situations, and I think this feud with Bobby Lashley, they're going to have a match. They could put on a really good match, I think.
Yeah, and I always thought that was like a prop. But I think it's his guitar because I was watching some footage of them coming to Australia, and he walked to Bad Claim. And when he came back, he had his guitar with him. And so when I saw John Cena kick it out the ring at WrestleMania, I was like, oh, crap, that might start some backroom heat with Elias saying, dude, you could have broke my guitar, bro.
Yeah, you're right. But
because guitar players, that's their baby, man.
Oh, absolutely. But back in the day, like with a Jeff Jarrett, they were breaking guitars.
Right, but he never played it.
Yeah, he just sang. He never played it, but I tell you what, he used it as a weapon many times.
Yes.
Especially that video you showed me where he hit Beetlejuice with it. That was
Classic.
in WCW. That was really awesome. But with that being said, Monday night, a lot of surprises. Looking ahead to next Monday.
Oh, speaking of that, I don't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Do you think they're fixing to make Jeff Hardy a singles competitor? Because it seems like they do that every single time. They want to break up these dudes so bad, and they want Jeff Hardy to be a singles competitor so bad. They always run the Hardy Boys.
I hope not, but I did like the segment that they did with Matt and Jeff, and Jeff and Bray Wyatt kind of had a little. They embraced each other right there. So hopefully, just for right now, they'll have Jeff as a singles competitor, somewhat in the short term, but in the long term. Maybe we'll have a Jeff, Matt, and a Bray, which I think I saw a report that I think right now, they're going to team Bray and Matt, and at some point, Bray's going to turn on Matt and become the new leader of Sanity whenever they get called up. So
okay.
that's something interesting to keep an eye on. That's just a rumor, I think, right now. But,
okay.
And then I think once Bray turns on Matt, then you'll have, Broken Matt.
Yeah, Brother Nero coming to
Brother
help.
Nero, and stuff like that. So I think that's where they're going, which I'm okay with that right now.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. So that's basically the gist of what's happening on Raw right now. Moving over to SmackDown, we only had one. Well, actually on SmackDown, okay, here's the results here. Becky Lynch had a dark match with Ruby Riott. She won by submission. Jimmy and Jey Uso, Becky Lynch won that match, by the way. Jimmy and Jey Uso defeated Big E and Xavier Woods. So I think Jimmy and Jey Uso, they now get a SmackDown Tag Team title match at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Naomi defeated Natalya. And in the shock of the night, Carmella is your new SmackDown Women's Champion after cashing in on Charlotte, who had just gotten beat down by the newly called up Iconics, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. And look,
yes, sir.
There's so much I can say about those two, but this is a family show, so I'm not going to say it. But they came out, made their debut on SmackDown, beat down Charlotte Flair, and Carmella came out, cashed in, and she is now your new SmackDown Women's Champion.
And boy, did she scream like a banshee. That was getting on my nerves. And then the ref. Like, was that the worst acting job ever?
Yeah, Kyoto,
you want to cash it in? And she's like, cash it in! Like 20 times.
Here's a fun fact, and I don't know where I saw this. Brink may have even brought it up, or I saw it somewhere. Kyoto was also the same referee when Edge first cashed in the first ever Money in the Bank cash in against John Cena. Kyoto was the referee there.
Yeah.
So somebody was making fun of Kyoto. It's like, come on, Kyoto, you know what to do. Like, you've been there before.
This ain't your first
and
rodeo.
now he was the referee for the first ever women's cash in.
Yeah.
So cool little side note there from Mike Kyoto.
Yeah. And you know what? I was thinking, obviously, one of the big rumors is they're going to start a women's tag division. So obviously the Iconics are a great call-up because they've been working together. I'm thinking we're probably going to see a lot more women tag teams in NXT to get them ready to be called up as well.
That would be great. Also, Ember Moon and Nia Jax worked well together this week.
Oh, snap. That would be a great tag team.
That would be a great tag team. Also, you have Alexa Bliss, Mickie James could be a tag team. You have Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair could be a tag team.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the other women. Obviously, you have Sarah Logan, Liv Morgan on SmackDown.
Yeah. Shayna Baszler ever comes up, her and Ronda Rousey?
Could be, yeah. And then you have, Why is it slipping my mind all of a sudden? Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville could be a tag team. So you have the tag teams there. I would be all for it. Just wait and see if it happens. It could happen.
Yeah, and we haven't got to that point yet. I'll ask you that whenever we get to that point.
But, SmackDown. Also, Randy Orton defeated Bobby Roode and Rusev in a triple threat, so Randy Orton gets a rematch for...
Come on.
So Randy Orton and Jinder.
God.
It's funny. We were talking about Dave Meltzer earlier. Dave Meltzer also tweeted how... And everybody thought it was hilarious. They were like, why is WWE, punishing us with Jinder versus Orton for the U.S. title again? And he had said something along the lines of, well, since everybody booed Reigns, we must be punished. So we have to withstand another Randy Orton-Jinder Mahal U.S. title match at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Also, AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan main evented SmackDown, but it ended in a disqualification because Shinsuke Nakamura interfered in the match, so we didn't get a clean finish there. But hopefully more Daniel Bryan versus AJ down the line because I was really enjoying that match on SmackDown.
I bet. And what about the big announcement on SmackDown?
Well, what was the big announcement?
Paige.
She. Oh, okay. So I was confused because there was two big announcements involving Paige. One was on Monday Night Raw when she announced her retirement from in-ring competition.
Yep.
On SmackDown, the big announcement was that Paige is now the new SmackDown general manager.
Now, I didn't see that segment. Is she going to be a heel manager or a face manager?
That's going to be interesting. Right now, it looks like she's going to be a face manager because she's the one that booked Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, which everybody loved. So, I don't know. We'll see. I think she's going to be a face manager, which would make a lot of sense. I think they're trying to go that route these days. But then again, you have a heel commissioner and a face GM on Raw. And then you have a face commissioner on SmackDown and maybe a heel. Maybe I think it's likely that she'll turn heel, but right now I think they're trying to push her as a face GM.
I wonder if in the Superstar Shakeup, they'll bring her faction over there and they'll be like her goons.
Well, speaking of, let's dive into that.
Yeah.
The Superstar Shakeup is this Monday and Tuesday.
Shake it up.
Some speculation as to who's going to Raw, who's going to SmackDown.
Yeah.
The names that I think are being thrown around right now, I think everybody's thinking Asuka is going to SmackDown along with Braun Strowman. Maybe the Usos come to Raw, which I don't understand that right now because they have a tag team title match against the Bludgeon Brothers. Maybe the New Day come back to Raw. Also, Charlotte Flair could be going back to Raw as well. I'm trying to think who else they were talking about going over from SmackDown. Maybe Randy Orton goes to Raw, but he has a U.S. title match with Jinder Mahal.
Right.
I would love to see Bobby Roode on Raw. I would like Bobby Roode on Raw. That would be great. I'm trying to think who else. I don't know. I don't know right now. There's very little speculation, I think, as to who's going where right now. Maybe there'll be more speculation, obviously, in the next 24 to 48 hours before Raw. Obviously, we're going to find out Monday and Tuesday night who's going where. So Monday and Tuesday night will certainly be must-watch, again, for wrestling fans. Even though WrestleMania is come and gone now, still a very fun and interesting time to be a wrestling fan as they're getting ready to shake things up, new, fresh storylines, and I'm excited to see who ends up on Raw and who ends up on SmackDown.
Right, and hopefully we see some more injuries get resolved.
Oh, wait.
Like we saw Jeff Hardy come back.
Oh, yeah. Also,
hopefully,
Big Cass hasn't come back yet.
Right, that's what I was
think
going to say.
he'll show up. Also, there's a couple of call-ups, at least one that we didn't see on Tuesday. Andrade Cien Almas did not show up on SmackDown. I think he will show up on SmackDown this Tuesday as part of the Superstar Shakeup. So, because I saw the NXT tapings for the next few weeks, I don't think Almas is on those tapes. So he's should be on SmackDown on Tuesday for the Superstar Shakeup. So right now, I don't know. Who would you like to see go from SmackDown to Raw or Raw to SmackDown?
To be honest with you, I'm just going to lay that in the hands of the powers that be.
Yeah.
Because, either way, we're going to get great storylines and we're going to get bad storylines.
Yeah.
Yep. And they really, for the most part, they have great talent. So to be honest, it doesn't really matter to me. The shakeup's not really a big thing to me.
Yeah.
I guess maybe that's because I don't watch a lot of the episodic TV.
Yeah.
I watch mainly just the pay-per-views. But I mean, obviously, if you look at some matchups, they can do some great things.
Yeah, they could, but I'm really looking forward to see, who goes where, because now you have Daniel Bryan back. What if Daniel Bryan goes to Raw? He's not a champion. I don't think they're going to switch any of the champions right now, but I'm certainly interested to see, if Daniel Bryan goes back to Raw.
Yeah.
I mean, who else we got in there? You got Rusev. What's going to happen with Rusev? I mean, maybe that's another story to keep an eye on too, obviously. Also, I wouldn't be surprised if the New Day went to Raw, because there is talk that McMahon is very high on Big E, maybe taking Big E out of the New Day and just having Xavier and Kofi be a tag team and give Big E a big singles push, because McMahon still is very high on Big E and possibly him being a world champion, which I could see him being a world champion in the next 2 years.
Yeah, and I think I would like to see them do it the way they did with the Shield, where they were still a stable, but they started competing for their own singles belts as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they break up the New Day, come on. I mean, they've been one of the hottest tag teams for years. And Big E is such a character, man. Like, in the New Day, he is so funny, dude.
Oh, yes. Those three, I would hate to see them break those three guys up. I think you can still give Big E a singles push with him still being in the New Day. I don't see why they can't do that.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to get across, but it wasn't to the point as you.
Maybe just Big E shows up on Monday Night Raw. Who knows?
Oh, man.
That would be sad to see the New Day break up, because they've had one hell of a run.
Yeah, and if they take Big E out of New Day, he can't be that crazy anymore.
No, he can't.
Because he's not in that environment of craziness. You know what I mean?
Interesting to see maybe where Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn end up. I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah,
the double count out on Raw. Now they're not supposed to be on SmackDown. They can't be on Raw. Where are they going to show up?
Yeah, that's weird that they've kind of pinned them like that.
Yeah,
because I mean, obviously, they're two of the best wrestlers in the world right now. They're not going to let them go.
So, going to be interesting to see, obviously, where everybody ends up.
Maybe they need some time off, and
maybe they do. They have wrestled one hell of a schedule. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and dive in now to our last topic.
Yep.
Obviously, coming up at the end of the month, April 27th in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. This is going to be at 11 a.m. on a Friday. The greatest Royal Rumble pay-per-view event. Here's the matches they've announced so far. Obviously, the 50-man Royal Rumble match, which will have, here's the list of participants so far.
Nice.
Daniel Bryan, Big Show, Kane, Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, Kurt Angle, Apollo, Titus O'Neil, Elias, Goldust, Baron Corbin, Big E, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Shelton Benjamin, Chad Gable, Sin Cara, Mojo Rawley, and Dolph Ziggler. So that is so far only 9. That's not even half of the field yet. As most people should know, if you don't know, the Royal Rumble is my favorite match of the year, and this is going to be the biggest Royal Rumble match maybe ever. And as far as I know, it's going to be Royal Rumble, rules.
Oh, God, that's going to take forever.
I'm okay with this. It's going to be a 5-hour event also.
Jeez.
They've confirmed this is going to be a 5-hour event. The other matches to look forward to, John Cena versus Triple H, The Undertaker versus Chris Jericho in a casket match, the Bludgeon Brothers versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. You're also going to have Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar rematch for the Universal Championship as well. Right now they have Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, The Miz versus Samoa Joe in a ladder match for the Intercontinental title match. That should be really good.
That's legit.
Also, right now Cesaro and Sheamus versus either The Revival or Matt Hardy, Bray Wyatt for the Raw Tag Team titles. And that's all we have right now. Randy Orton, I think, versus Jinder Mahal will also be for the United States Championship. And all of the titles will be on the line as well, except the women's titles. No women can perform, unfortunately, in Saudi Arabia, so it's all going to be men.
Thanks a lot, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I know, it sucks. But the WWE title will be on the line. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Shinsuke versus AJ, maybe again. Maybe they throw Baron. No, Baron Corbin's in the greatest Royal Rumble match.
Don't you say that.
Well, there's been
Don't say it!
Well, there's been a leak of Extreme Rules, which I think is in June. It's going to be a triple threat. AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Baron Corbin for the WWE Championship. That's been leaked. It could change, but that is what I've seen on the internet leaked.
Baron Corbin goes over on either AJ or Nakamura, somebody in the back should get slapped.
We're going to have another one of Ryan's rants if that happens.
Oh.
So you can sit
one
back
for
and
the
enjoy that one.
ages. You know what? And I don't get the whole Taker versus Jericho thing.
Well, I was supposed to be versus Rusev.
Right.
I'm confused as to what they're trying to do.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm glad to see Jericho back.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, if they're going to book a squash match with Cena, you obviously know The Undertaker's going over on Jericho. Mm-hmm. And it's a casket match. He's not going to lose a casket match.
But I could also see where The Undertaker could lose this match because he wouldn't get pinned or anything. Jericho could get him into the coffin and shut it.
Yeah, but this is his
it.
ish, man.
Yeah, I know.
You know
but
what I
can
mean?
also see Jericho shutting the casket and technically winning the match, but even The Undertaker getting out of the casket and destroying Jericho after the match, So I could see that happening. But
yeah, that came out of left field. I was like, what?
It was. But I'm interested in seeing the match. This will be the first, I think, wrestling match for Chris Jericho ever since his match with Omega at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, so he should be well rested.
Absolutely. And Undertaker, his second match, obviously, since WrestleMania.
Well, I mean,
so.
wrestling-wise, because, I mean, he had a tough schedule while he's touring. But
yeah, that tour just ended, actually, on Sunday. So
wow.
He's got a few weeks to rest up and get ready for the dead man in a casket match at the greatest Royal Rumble all the way over in Saudi Arabia. That will be 11 a.m. Central Time, noon Eastern, Friday, April 27th on the WWE Network.
So are they going to show it live at that time, or are they just going to delay tape it?
No,
and
they're going to show it
later
live,
on the
as far as I know.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be live on the WWE Network. It's going to be in the middle of the day on a Friday for us, which I won't be at work that day. I'm going to Jazz Fest to watch one of my buddies.
Oh, that's right.
I don't think I'll be able to watch it live, but I'll try and watch it that night, if not that weekend, for sure. So definitely looking forward to that event. It seems like it's going to be one of those big pay-per-view network specials, and I'm all about it because I remember a few years ago they did the one, the Beast in the East, where they were in Japan, and I enjoyed that, even though it was at 4 a.m. on like July 4th or something like that. It was at 4 a.m., but I was already at work here at the station that morning. I remember that because I watched it live on the network, and that's when Brock squashed Kofi Kingston. So I like these random little specials that they're doing, especially this one since there's a 50-man Royal Rumble match.
Yeah, it's going to be epic.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
So, but any thoughts on the greatest Royal Rumble pay-per-view event coming up?
I'm pretty excited about it too, man. I think the participants in the Royal Rumble so far, great. Obviously, we'll be waiting for more. And then the card seems like it's pretty legit too. I mean, I'm glad to see Jericho back.
Yeah.
It'd be good to see AJ and Nakamura because after that match they're going to want to put on a show because they're like, hey, look, we kind of fell flat at Mania. I don't know if it was the environment or it just they're going to want to put on a show.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think it's going to be a really good event. Saudi Arabia. Oh, and speaking of Uncle Melty, somebody asked him the question about, hey, they haven't started selling tickets for this event yet, and he said, well, the Saudi Arabia government bought all the tickets. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to give them out.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see as well. So,
yeah.
But I'm looking forward to the event. Obviously, it's an event where they're kind of hyping it up real big. I mean, the 50-man Royal Rumble, the greatest Royal Rumble match,
You know it is.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with everything, how the storylines play out going into Backlash in the middle of May.
Right.
With that being said, I think that's all we have to talk about. You have anything you want to add in? Or
no, man. If you want to see us on the live stream, go to our Patreon page, the B Show support level. It's $5 a month. You get exclusive. You get the recording of our Discord live and uncut. You also get the live stream where you can see us here in the Markout Studios. And also, just check us out on social media, man. We're always posting breaking news. By no means are we insiders. We're just two average dudes that love wrestling, but we're always scouring the internet for wrestling news. So, we jump pretty quickly on a lot of stories out there. So they might not come from us, but they're coming from reputable sources, and we send them out. And so like us on Facebook, like us on Twitter. And if you have an iPhone, hit that podcast button, search Markout Mania, subscribe to us.
Absolutely. So go ahead and take us home, man.
All right, man. It is time to conclude another episode, Patrick. Give them the magical word.
Outro.
You've been listening to the Mark Out Mania podcast, a Lake Area Media, LLC production. The views and opinions expressed in this show are those of Ryan Keith and Patrick Fry and are not affiliated with any wrestling promotion or company. Follow Mark Out Mania on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. For all Mark Out Mania links, news, and free podcasts, visit MarkOutMania.com. You've been marked.